What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Back at you again. And I want to talk about what I feel like for me is one of the biggest accomplishments in my life. Although I put myself in that situation to begin with, but I got myself out of that situation as well. And that's how I paid off roughly $44,000 worth of student loans in about 18 months, right? So I paid it off. My first major payment, the reason why I even say major is because I was literally I was making these minimal payments that were never getting to the principal. And so I started making these payments when my son was born, right? And that was when it started. It coincided with obviously his birth in terms of the motivation. But I just started grinding. A lot of people have reached out to me. Many people have congratulated me, and many people even asked me how was I able to do it. How much money was I able to do? Make and all these different things. Well, obviously, here's the thing: it requires more money because when I first got to college, I was making about $11 an hour, right? And this was a job that gave me between 32 and 40 hours a week. I say that because the 40 was never guaranteed. But it was just something to hold me over, something I could barely pay my bills with, but something I can get by with. But I could never afford on that particular salary. I could never afford to pay this off this quickly. And so what I did was obviously I switched jobs. But there were three things I learned during this entire journey, right? This is really the crux of the video, the crux, in my opinion, of the entire journey, which is hard work is a sacrifice. During this time, I worked so many hours, right? Oftentimes, I would work 55 to 60 hours a week. And I will tell you, that's so crazy. I was not as tired as I thought. I was not as tired as I thought I would be doing this during this journey. I had a lot of energy, had a lot of motivation. But there was something I was working towards that was bigger than this. I just wanted to change my lifestyle completely. And that's what started happening. So I just started getting to this point where hard work is a part of my DNA. It's a part of my reputation within myself, my self-reputation. This is how I view myself. I will not be outworked, right? So that was one of the things that I started getting. Number two was material possessions and just different experiences in life. Sometimes you have to give them up for something bigger, right? Material possessions could be a car, could be clothes, could be whatever. Certain experiences could be a vacation, etc. And I gave some of that up in the middle of this, right, for about 18 months, right? And even then, I was not as strict as I could have been, but I gave up a lot. During this time, I started working so many hours, and I was just making more money in this time than I'd ever made in my entire life. I could have had the most monetary fun in my entire life, and I just chilled, right? And the third thing is, the first two things I just told you are not as big of a sacrifice as I just said that they were. They weren't. By the end of this, I just didn't care. And I will tell you, the hard work is no longer a sacrifice. I no longer feel like I'm giving up as much as I felt at the time. But I am at a stage now where I am being intentional, right? I'm not just working mindless hours for the sake of hours. There are seasons in your life, in my opinion, where you just grind, and it doesn't matter what happens. If you got to work an extra 20, 30, 40 hours a week, and that's what you do. And I feel like that season for my life, for the moment, has passed, at least in that capacity, right? Just working mindless hours with no real end goal outside of just earning more money. Now it's time to be more intentional. But number two, giving up those material things, I no longer even care, right? So a big thing is, like me and my wife, we always talk about like this getting closer to this minimalistic style of a lifestyle, which is just giving up a lot of material things. Those things do not bring me as much happiness as I thought that they would, and so that's very important to me now. Those things, just hanging out with family, enjoying my loved ones, and getting closer to them over and over again, right? And just enjoying life. That's what brings me joy. I don't feel like I'm giving up much. So that's one thing I want people to understand, is that it's not the fact that you're just working hard. It's not just about making money, right? There's a lot of people that make money and they're miserable. There's a lot of people that don't make the X amount of dollars and they're enjoying life nonetheless. And so during this journey, if you want to call it a journey, the 3 things I learned: hard work, giving up material things. Number 3, those things are not as much of a sacrifice as you may think, and there's no replacement. There's no replacement for people, and so I want everyone to understand that. Obviously, we are in a new day and age in terms of just the way that people are starting to grasp money. People are actually actively trying to do it now, but I want you to make sure that as you gain more money, you get and ground yourself more and more and more, so you can enjoy that money a little bit more. You don't want that money to kind of hold you down, because if you don't fix the problems that made you broke, when you get money, those same problems, they will still be there. Trust me, 100%. So I want everybody to work hard. I want everybody to enjoy the people around them, because that's what makes this life so great. And I will see you later. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to this video.